Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Long Range Corner with your host, Matt Bardeen. And today I have with me a very special guest. I've saw Bryce Prestwich, I think probably about 4 months ago. Saw one of his videos through FPV Provo on Instagram, and his flying style really caught my eye. So I've been following him now for 4 months, and I said, yeah, I've got to talk to this guy. He's excellent flyer, does a lot of long range stuff. So without further ado, let me introduce Bryce. There we go. You should see yourself on the screen in a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'll see when it comes through.
So how you doing? Yeah, there, I see yourself. I see you, I see me. We're good. So, how did you get into this long range stuff? I know you've done a little bit of racing previously, but...
Well, I guess I started getting into long range when I wasn't doing very good at racing, and then there were these beautiful mountains, and I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool if I could just like start zipping down this stuff? And then I actually saw some of your videos when you were flying, and I thought, yeah, you know, so I was looking at your setups and some of the tutorials, and I started getting further and further into it, and now here I am with a whole lineup of littered quad parts. Lots of fun footage to show for us.
That tends to happen. So, what's your favorite setup at the moment? What kind of setups do you fly?
Well, I've been experimenting around with a few different setups. So for a lot of my previous videos, I was using just a little 5-inch guy like this.
Okay.
Just a really big, huge, just kind of a junky battery on there, but it was working.
Yeah.
So now I'm starting to experiment around. I'm getting into more 7-inch quads, 6-inch range. Experimenting with some higher voltages, higher cell counts, and just kind of playing the numbers game, see what I can pick up.
Yeah, they're telling me that they can hardly hear you. I'm not exactly sure how to fix that. Give me a second. Because I can hear you pretty good. Maybe it's because it's not coming through on the live feed.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. How about that?
Can they hear me better now?
I think they're probably hearing you through my microphone, which is kind of weird, but...
Oh.
Yeah, I figured you guys are hearing him through my speaker. Let me see what I can do. This is the first time I've done this, so you guys are going to have to bear with me.
Yeah.
So while we're working this out, you had a lithium-ion setup and with some DJI snail motors, and that really caught my eye.
Yeah, it wasn't the most optimal setup, but it was a test for some of the numbers that I was running through on some calculations, and it was basically, I was wondering if it was better to go low cell count and really high milliamp hours, or if it's better to go high cell count but lower milliamp hours.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what brought about the low voltage, high milliamps of the lithium ion, and now I'm starting to explore the other range of the spectrum too, and maybe a little bit later on we can get into it a little bit better when the audio is working.
Yeah, I think that should be working now.
All right, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit about the battery I was using. I was using this 7 amp hour lithium ion.
Okay.
And I went with the snail motors, not because there was anything terribly attractive about them. It's just that DJI had come up with a really low-pitch 7-inch prop. It was a 70-27 prop.
Okay.
So it was really easy for the motors to spin them. And on this lithium ion, I mean, on the lower end, it was only pulling 10 volts, or it was only giving me 10 volts. So I needed the higher RPM motors to be actually be able to stay in the air for the duration of the flight.
Yeah, okay. So it's not really like a 4S setup where you get 14.8 volts or 16 volts. You're really talking low voltage.
Yeah, like super low voltage.
Okay.
So I think on one flight, I think I landed and it was coming in at 8 volts. Was what I was flying on. So it's basically a 2S setup.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't very fun to fly, but I covered, I think the distance record I had on that battery was 12.5 miles with, I think I did about 6,000 feet of vertical elevation in the same flight. So it lasted a long time and got me from point A to point B several times over, but it was one of the longest, most boring flights I've ever done.
Yeah.
So it was very appealing.
Yeah, I understand that. There's always there seems to be this trade-off between exciting flights, exciting fast flights, and then the slow flights. Myself, I've got a 13-inch setup, and that doesn't really move either. So it can fly forever, but it's not really fun. So
yeah, there's definitely a trade-off there. So I don't know. It really depends on the pilot, but I like to be able to still feel comfortable diving things and having some close proximity, and I can't feel confident on close proximity with such low voltage.
Yeah, no, I understand that. If you don't have the power, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. Some of the other things I wanted to ask you. You're kind of new at this Instagram and YouTube thing.
Yeah, I'm new to the game. A little late to the game.
Yeah. When I first came across your Instagram feed, you had maybe 100 followers, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So now you've kind of exploded in the last couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Instagram is it's kind of like a hobby space for me. I don't know. I don't treat it too seriously. I just kind of throw a couple clips up there of what I think looks cool, and fortunately, I guess some people are enjoying it.
Well, you definitely have the mountains for it, and with the snow, and you typically go out and fly around an hour, and that makes for killer footage, basically.
Yeah, and I found that golden hour. There are 2 golden hours. One is if you beat the sun.
Yeah.
The other one's if you wait for the sun.
Okay. I think we're having some problems with the video feed here. It's dropping frames. Yeah, so hopefully this is coming through on the video feed. Other questions that I had for you. What you said you're gravitating towards 7-inch frames. What kind of motors and things like that are you looking at on the 7-inch?
For my 7-inch, I've started with the high kV, like 2400 range. I'm slowly getting lower and lower. Right now I'm at about a 1600 to an 1800 kV motor for 7-inch, but I'm starting to push higher voltages like 5S and 6S and kind of playing around with it.
Okay.
6S is still kind of a barrier, but it's something that I think would be beneficial to push into.
And why do you think why is it a barrier? Mainly because of the ESCs or the motors, or?
Yeah, the ESCs especially, and when you're trying to spin a 7-inch prop that much faster on a 6S setup, it introduces lots of desyncing, and I've been having a little bit of trouble with that. But
okay,
I'm just playing around with components.
Yeah. Okay. I've been wanting to get into a 6-inch or a 6S setup because, well, I think it could have more efficiency. I'm really looking to beat the vibrations that you get on the 7-inch, the HQ 7-inch props. I really wanted to get in on the HQ, the PC props that they just came out with, the V1S props.
Yeah.
But of course, I saw the post at, I forget where it was. Some store had some in stock. They only had 30 orders, and I just wasn't able to get in on time.
Yeah, I missed that boat too.
Yeah. So, what kind of props are you using?
I'm just using the HQ 7-inch 70-45 prop.
Okay.
Or I don't know. I use whichever props are in the bag. I just kind of reach in the bag and rummage around, and when I find a set of props that seems to match on the cloth. So on some setups I'll be a little bit more particular, or if I know it's a run that I want to have really clean footage on, I'll open a new bag or make sure the props are pristine. But I've pretty much given up on 7-inch for getting really good clean video. And it's when I find a good component combo, like motors and ESCs, then I'll start caring about props again. But I was starting to let the jello stop me from flying because I wanted to make sure every flight had good footage, and that started to just be too much of a burden. So a lot of the flights I just don't really even put the GoPro now on, and I just like to push the limits and see what it.
Have you thought about maybe putting on a run cam split or something like that?
I've thought of it. I honestly just haven't taken the time to play around with it. I mean, that's as much as it comes to on that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been using the run cam split on my G2 setup, and it is good and it's bad. It's good because it's lightweight. It's bad because well, just recently it started giving me errors. Started flashing up with corruption on the screen in the video feed. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but in general I like it because of the weight. It's light.
And the form factor.
Yeah, the form factor is excellent. Yeah, what else did I want to ask you? So what do you do apart from FPV? Let's go into that.
Well, right now I'm going to school, so just studying. I'm studying to be a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
So one day I'll get one of those fancy papers that means somebody's going to pay me a bunch of money, but for now I just kind of scrape by on whatever trickles in. Yeah,
okay, I understand that. I'm actually on the other side of the equation. I'm the teacher.
Oh.
So I do I'm computer science basically, but recently I've started a drone lab in my university, and I teach kids to fly drones.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There's a lot of excitement. A lot of the students have a lot of excitement that it motivates them because they get to see the results of what they're learning and put it in the air. And I think that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's definitely where I was coming from. I had to do a big dynamics project, and I used one of my multi-rotors, and so I drew up a bunch of equations, and then we went out, and my predictions weren't too far off, so that was pretty exciting.
Okay, excellent. So, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? 20, somewhere around there? 25.
Yep.
Ah, yeah, that's right, because you did a missionary position.
Yeah, I went down to Argentina.
Okay, so you actually
2 years.
You actually speak Spanish.
Sí, señor.
Excelente.
At least what I can remember of it.
Yeah, that's always the trouble. So, let's take a few questions from the guys in the chat. Humboldt. Do you know Humboldt?
Yeah, yeah. I've been watching his stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He asks, do you have a friend with a repeater so you can get so darn low in those ravines?
Well, I've definitely considered the notion. There are quite a few ravines where I'll know that the blind spot is coming up, so I'll just kind of lock into a straight line and then drop through the bad spot of video. But normally, it's a trick of the GoPro. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I've done that before as well. You just know you're going to lose video, so you're just, okay, gun it and pray.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, on a lot of the ravines I'm flying, it looks like I'm down in the ravine. But what's really happening is I'm standing here, and the ravine is about a 45-degree angle.
Yeah,
so I can see into the whole side of the face. It just doesn't look like it because the GoPro always stills like 20 or 30 degrees.
Okay, hey, you use wide or super view.
Yeah, I just like being able to show a little bit more of the landscape.
Yep. Okay. I'm kind of torn on super view. I like that it shows more, but I don't like that it distorts the mountains. So
yeah,
that's
a love-hate relationship.
Yep. What's your favorite place to fly?
Well, I mean, most of the videos I'm taking of these cool, awesome mountains, they're about 15, 20 minutes from my backyard. So you normally is either on the way home from work or on the way to class or something. I'll just pop by, I'll do a couple quick flights and then get on my way to wherever I'm going. So
yeah, that's nice. I'm actually kind of jealous about that because when I fly, I have to travel 3 hours, 2.5 hours to get up to the mountain. So I go for the day. And
yeah, I definitely have a location advantage here.
Yeah. Michael Steele asks, how many seconds is your failsafe set at?
My failsafe, on some of my quads, I had the failsafe set to level out and then just pin it in case I got behind something. And then I was in the parking lot one day and my transmitter died, and so it failsafed. And this is when I was testing a new 5-inch setup.
Oh, crap.
So, as you can imagine, I quickly discovered that
that's not a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. So I honestly, I don't really touch the failsafe very much. Anything that I'm going to come down, I always go up first to test video, test RC link, and then I just kind of go for it.
Okay, yeah, that's the sensible thing to do. Is you test it out first, and then you really do what you really want to do.
Yeah, if you ask some of the people I go fly with, they'd tell you otherwise. But I usually take a minute more to think about it than I usually say.
Yeah, okay. And you fly with Provo a lot, right?
Yeah, so he and I like to hit up the mountains quite a bit together.
Okay.
We recently actually took a new pilot with us who contacted us through Instagram. He's like, "Hey, I'd like to tag along." So we had a really short route planned where we're just going to drive up and then hike maybe 10 minutes. It turned into like a 4 or 5 hour hike though, through oak brush, and he ripped his pants all up. It was a heck of an adventure.
So you're showing him the joys of the hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. So he thought that since we were flying long range, we'd be flying from the road, and you hike a whole lot more with long range in my experience.
Yep. I'm pretty lucky with most of the places I fly. I've got good coverage from the road, so I don't have to hike very much. But there are some places that I do want to fly that I know that I'm going to have to hike. So it's one of those things. I'm old, a little bit out of shape. I'm going to have to start doing a little bit of exercise to get up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Wilson asks, how many quads have you lost? Any good stories?
So I have had quads that I've had lost for several days. I've had quads that I've had to rappel down into slot canyons to rescue. I've had quads that I've had to pick up in parts, but I've never actually lost a setup yet.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm actually jealous of that. I think.
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, when I started in long range planes. That was what got me into FPV. Is I wanted to put cameras on my planes.
Okay.
After I flew around a couple batteries in the planes, I said, you know what, this is really kind of boring. So I turned to quads, but I did lose a big long range plane once, and I thought, well, I guess it's about time I lost something. But I mean, some other guys that I've been flying with, they're already at like 5 or 6 quads, and we've gone and we've searched for all of them just with no luck.
Yeah, it's really hard to find a quad once you've lost it. Once it goes down, it's almost impossible to find.
Yeah,
I've lost 6 so far, 5 or 6. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But the first one was in Hawaii.
Oh.
And I was flying out that day, so there's no chance for me to recover it. I have lost 2 that I have recovered.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, those were lost for months. One of them I actually had to cross a river to find.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I crossed the river maybe 3 or 4 occasions trying to find the quad before I realized, oh crap, I'm looking in the complete wrong place. So once I realized, yeah, I've got to look farther up the mountain, then I found it that day pretty quickly. But that was missing for a good 4 months.
Oh, wow. And you still found it in the end. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
Yeah, I still found it in the end. Half covered, half buried in rubble, but still found it.
Yeah, that's lucky.
Yeah. Then I've lost a couple in ponds or lakes, actually. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, once it goes down in a lake, you're screwed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Get it back.
Yeah. There was another question here. What did I see it? Have you tried balancing the 7-inch props?
I have, and I didn't find it made too much difference.
Yeah.
So I think that the motors I was using at the time when I tried to balance them just didn't have enough torque to be able to properly tune the quad in the long run.
Okay, yeah, I've found the same thing basically with my G2. I balanced the props. I spent tons of time actually tuning the quad, and yeah, never really got anything good out of it. Threw the 6 by 4.5 by 3s on there, had it tuned within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I think part of the problem with the 7-inch too is the motor can barely spin a bi-blade, and a tri-blade I think just doesn't. It's a little easier to tune with a tri-blade on.
Yep. Yeah, I've actually found the modern flight control software has a lot of problem with bi-blades. Even with 6-inch bi-blades, it has real problems. Going back 2 years ago, never an issue. I have video from some of my 6-inch setups that's smooth as glass. So it's really a question, what happened in the meantime. Maybe I think a lot of the flight control people, they spent so much time trying to fix those mid-throttle vibrations on the 5-inch setups that they just got it so tuned for 5-inch that 6-inch bi-blades, they just don't work. They're not very well tuned.
Yeah, and I mean, firmware is changing so much these days too, and it's been so long since I've tried Race Flight and KISS now that I'm interested to see what their progression has been. Kind of glued to Betaflight because of the onboard OSD feature.
Yeah, okay. That's nice. I'm mainly a KISS flyer. I've been flying KISS since, 2015, somewhere in there. And not having a good OSD solution it makes my quads fairly expensive.
Yeah.
So I usually go with like a Core PNP Pro or a FPV Vision or something like that. And that jacks up the price.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they sell the Micro Minim OSD for the KISS now, but I've not played around with it.
It's not a great solution. I've played around with it. I don't really like it very much. So.
Well, that's good to know.
I don't recommend it. That's why I end up with something expensive like the Core PNP Pro or the FP Vision. That
Yeah.
Actually, of all of TBS's products, I think I like the FP Vision the most. That's been the most useful, and the Crossfire, obviously.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, I actually started off with a Easy UHF way back when, and a couple of fail-safes later, I said nope, no more. And then once the Crossfire came out, then I started using that. And haven't looked back.
A lot of quads because I was trying to maximize my 2.4 range, and I hiked a lot for quads when I was on that.
Yeah, okay. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you were looking at 2.4 gigahertz video at some point. Have you made any purchases there?
I haven't yet. I haven't found a VTX that I like. I think that we've kind of skipped 2.4 to go to 5.8, and there are lots of really good 5.8 video transmitters out there, but I haven't found one to click buy yet for 2.4.
Yeah, my two that I've used are the Immersion 2.4, and that's great in terms of reliability. It just works, but it's big. It's huge.
It is.
And then the TBS solutions, I use the 500 milliwatt a lot, and the 800 milliwatt I used once. I had one of those that just kind of died. And my experience with the TBS transmitters has been hit and miss. They tend to last a little bit and then they die for unexplained reasons.
Yeah,
so
I've heard that happening quite a bit. I love the high voltage 500 milliwatts. That's usually what I'm running.
Yeah.
I took it out yesterday, and I actually got a new distance record for myself, from myself. Just shy of 4 miles. It's 3.9 miles.
Excellent.
I don't remember what that is in kilometers, and it was just on 5.8, and my video was plenty good. So
yeah. I think that's the thing is 5.8 does really good. I took mine out 5.2 kilometers, which is probably about 3.6 miles, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and it does really well as long as there's nothing else around you.
Exactly. Once you get interference, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, it rolls off pretty quick with interference.
Yeah, I also don't like the out of line of sight handling of 5.8 because you get behind something and it just goes.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, 2.4 gives you a little bit more warning that you're about to lose video.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, basically the longer wavelengths, they kind of bend around objects a little bit more. So
yeah.
So 1.3, you can get away with a little bit more. That's why the TBS Crossfire on 915, you can do out of line of sight without too. You have to be a little bit respectful, but
yeah, I mean, I'll trust the Crossfire much further than my video.
Yeah,
I'd rather video go out than controlling.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a question here from Benson. He said, what does Bryce do for link quality, RSSI, SNR, feedback on the Crossfire with the Betaflight OSD?
Well, that's kind of a interesting question. I do a lot of things wrong in long range when it comes to telemetry and feedback. So all I do with the Crossfire is I actually leave the telemetry turned off. I don't like any of the warnings. I don't want to have the false sense of security. So I go into Betaflight tab and I just toggle one of the channels that's coming through on the S bus.
Okay.
And I tell it that that's the receiver link quality. And then on the back of the module on my Crossfire, I tell it to send link quality
to
down
that channel.
That's all.
Okay. Yeah, so it's basically a pass-through. That's what we used to do a lot for in Betaflight with 2.4.
Yeah, it's just simple and easy.
Yep. Okay. Except when you lose control, and then
yeah, then it's not so good.
Yeah. technically, you should lose video before you lose control, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, I had a really weird thing happen yesterday where it was like my signal was super delayed. I was coming down a cliff face.
Okay.
And was to rotate and pitch up to come down the cliff face backwards.
Yep.
And I had enough time to hit over and down to change the declination of the quad, and it did nothing.
Really?
And so I froze for a second, wondering what was going to happen. And then the quad did the exact movement. It was just like a 2-second delay.
Wow.
And I'd had that happen before, but it was interesting.
No, I've never had that happen, thankfully.
Yeah. Maybe pull up early, needless to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Early.
Right. Let's see. Anything else here? Any other questions from the audience? No, nothing else at the moment. I'm still waiting for the 2.4 version of the FP Vision. If Trappy ever comes out with that, I'd be on it like...
Yeah, I'd be picking up a couple too myself.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
He did tell me at one point that he greenlighted it, but I haven't heard anything since, so...
Huh.
We'll see if that happens or not. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm not going to be holding my breath, but if it ever does, I'll be a happy camper.
MC Grant asks, "What is your favorite 7-inch frame?"
So I've actually been playing around with a couple that I've got here. This is the first real 7-inch frame that I was using. It's got 6-inch props on it because I broke all my 7-inch.
Okay.
It was good. It was kind of heavy. It had a nice vibration isolated mount on it, so I actually got some pretty good footage with it.
Okay.
Now I'm kind of playing around with a different one. Oh, here it is. So I'm playing around. I helped the Show Me What You Got guys, sort of. They designed the whole frame. They give me too much credit, but I just kind of made a little adapter plate for another vibration isolated mount.
Okay.
This frame I really like because the arms are so stiff. It's got 5 mil quasi-isotropic carbon. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that right, but
sounds impressive. That's the Ruxus?
No, so it's actually, the Ruxus isn't a 7-inch yet. It's a 6-inch.
Okay.
Rebel is coming out with I've actually been doing a lot of testing for them right now for a special long-range quad. Okay. But I can't throw out any specs just yet, but they'll have to watch them because they're going to release something that's going to be pretty awesome, I think. But nice. It's the BRAP. It's a 7-inch BRAP frame.
BRAP, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one you showed was?
So the first one, it was just a frame that was kind of a test frame. I milled it out on my router here.
Ah, okay.
So it was just kind of a concept one-off.
And I saw something on your Instagram where you were actually designing your own frame.
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of the videos I've been doing have been with this frame here. It's just one I've designed, and I've just been selling it locally for people who want. It's been pretty nice. The main attractive thing is the antenna placement, which was really unique for a lot of the places that I was flying. It got the antennas up to where I could see them in the cracks and different things. And yeah, I've been in placing my antennas that way ever since, just because it's worked so well and keeps them fairly protected.
That's really important, antenna placement on long range.
Yeah.
You teased on Instagram a 10-inch, no?
I did, and we're getting a little bit further. This thing is a monster. So it's actually pretty light for a 10-inch frame. Right now, with all the components bolted down and with these giant Avenger motors, it's coming in at about 630 grams.
Okay, that's pretty light.
It's a big number, but it's pretty light for a 10-inch frame, and it's really, really rigid. So it pretty much, it's kind of just a concept to see if the frame has zero flex, if we can get a good tune on a 9-inch and 10-inch. But the goal is to some point push it to about 7 miles out and do some diving.
Excellent.
we're getting there. We're fighting firmware and ESCs and different things because it's running a 6S.
Okay.
10. So it's turning into a bit of a more conceptual build than we were hoping, but we're getting there.
Excellent. Banny UK has joined us. He says, "What's up, noobs?"
Yeah. So, hi, Banny. Actually, when he I was talking to him the other day. Well, not the other day. It was a long time ago. He messaged me for one of the other frames, and I didn't recognize him by the name he came across as. I apologized to him for that, and I realized after I talked to him, I was actually talking to my buddy, and he's like, "Wait, who did you say it was?" So I do have to apologize for that afterwards.
Excellent.
Like, oh, right, that's who it was. I'm still new to the game. I'm getting to know names and faces and matching things up, but I'll have to.
I was reading someplace. I think it was FPV Life, the Facebook group. Somebody was talking about how he was annoyed by the Mr. Steel Tyrannus. Something like that. He didn't like Rotor Riot, and Mr. Steel actually responded. Steel Davis responded and saying, "Yeah, I've got nothing to do with Rotor Riot now, etc., etc." And the guy responded back to him, and obviously didn't realize that he was talking to Mr. Steel.
Yeah.
So that happens.
Yeah, it's probably for the best though. I mean, I've been watching Lou Bannister's stuff since I was barely first getting into long range. It was your videos and his videos, and if I would have realized who I was talking to, I probably would have said a bunch of dumb stuff. So
excellent. Yeah, I think one of the first long range videos that I saw definitely was Banny, and then there was another one with from TBS. With a 7-inch quad. They were doing some 7-inch stuff. So
I started getting into the long range game. I think they had released the G2 had been out for 3 or 4 months now at this point or something.
Okay. Yeah, I started long range in 2015.
Yeah, so you've been in the game for a long time.
Somewhere around there, yeah. I've been out there doing that. All about wings, yeah. But this is a mini quad channel, Banny. Eventually, I'm going to get my mini drac up and running. Then it'll be all about wings.
Yeah. I pulled my wings off of the bench to get them out of the shop.
So you flew wings before. What kind of wings did you fly?
So I played around with some little tiny ones. I think the first wing I had was a Crash Test Hobbies Assassin, and it flew so poorly, but it was exactly what I needed because I couldn't break the thing.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
I onto a Chimera HD.
Okay.
So that's what I found now.
Okay. Yeah, I've got about 3 planes here that I've flown a total of 1 time.
Yeah.
So I've got a Z84 up there. I don't know if you can see it back there. I've got a Z84 that's my training wing, and a mini drac over on the side, and then a Bix 3. So
nice.
One of those I'll fly to and break in preparation to actually flying the mini drac.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. What else? MC Grant asks, are the vibrations so bad on 7-inch that you feel like you need the vibration isolation plate? And then there's another one, Free Pilot 101 asks, do we use narrow lenses for bigger terrain like 2.8 or 3.2?
I really don't know about the lenses. I just kind of leave things on super view. And as for the vibration isolation, it was really, I could get a good tune at certain levels of throttle on the quad. But as I would change the tune to tune for where it was getting vibration, it would introduce vibrations in other areas. So I pretty much chose on what throttle percentage or at what speed I wanted to basically pick my poison and have the vibrations, and then hope that the vibration isolation mount would help to dampen those. And then I would just try to avoid that throttle range as much as I could.
Yeah, okay. That's actually fairly sensible.
Yeah.
I've been trying to tune, get all the vibrations out, and never actually succeeded in getting the vibrations out.
Yeah, they just kind of seem to move around.
Yep.
I think the hardest range of throttle to get the vibrations to go away is on a long, flat cruising speed.
Yeah, definitely. That's really where you don't want vibrations.
Exactly. I think it's harder too with long range, because normally when you're getting to the mountain or back from the mountain, you're so far away from everything that if it even just moves just a touch, it's super noticeable.
Yep.
Long range is kind of plagued that way.
Yeah, and I've found that one of my problems is I don't have a nice place to tune. So I usually tune here at my house, and getting the range, that cruising speed around here is very difficult. So
yeah,
and then
second or two.
I'm at 200 meters, and then I go up into the mountains to fly, and I'm at 2,000 meters. So the cruising speed changes as well.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Dynamic filtering, it helps some, but not a lot.
All I can say is it depends on the flight controller. I've been getting into black box tuning quite a bit and pulling the gyro data and looking at them, and it's really just dependent on the flight controller.
Yeah, my kisses, I've done a lot of black box tuning, trying to get good tunes on it, and with varying degrees of success. With a 6-inch, I can get a pretty good tune. On a 7-inch, not so much.
Yeah.
I've actually got a 9-inch that I've tried to tune as well, and that does pretty good on good props.
Yeah. Props make a big difference. As soon as props get larger, it makes a huge difference. I have not found a 7-inch prop that I enjoy. I was spinning up some 5 inches on the thrust stand and just kind of holding my hand on the arm and the motor to feel the vibrations. Not very scientific, needless to say, but I found a much better props were on 8-inch than on 7-inch.
Really?
I tried quite a few different 7-inch props. I haven't tried the new ones, but I just couldn't find a 7-inch prop that didn't vibrate all over.
Okay, have you tried the Master Air Screw?
I haven't tried the Master Air Screw 7-inch props. Actually, no, I had some of those from a friend, and I tried those, and they were better. They were the best of the 7 inches that I'd tried. They still weren't. I still wasn't impressed with them.
Okay, yeah, I've got a pair of the bi-blades coming, the 7-inch bi-blades from Master Air Screw, and then I've actually got 9-inch tri-blades coming from them as well for my 9-inch setup. So what my problem with my 9-inch setup is that I have fairly low kV motors in there, and there's not a lot of punch. So
a lot of lift.
Yeah, it really needs a lot of throttle to pull out, and I don't like that too much.
Yeah, we had the opposite experience on the 9-inch. We were running 1800 kV motors on 9-inch with a 6S setup, and
yeah, I can imagine that probably moved along pretty well.
Off the hub on one flight. But I tell you what, it had a lot of punch.
I bet it did. What kind of batteries are you using?
So I'm actually glad you asked. I've been using. I kind of took the motto that if I crash on long range, I'm not going to get the quad back anyway, so it doesn't matter what battery I'm really using. So I've actually been rocking these Nanotechs for probably 4 or 5 months now.
Okay.
They're super low C, so they're really light.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Long range. I've been testing these. They're 5S batteries that Rebel has been making.
Okay.
And I've actually been enjoying them. They're 2200 5S. They're really small and light. My favorite battery, though, that I've been doing long range with has been the Pulse.
Okay.
2700 milliamp hour. It's got kind of a low C rating. It's only 35 C, but it doesn't feel like it. I still have lots of pull-out power, lots of milliamps. It seems to be very true to the milliamps as well, and it's pretty light.
Yeah, well, the nice thing about moving up in battery size is that you've got more amps just normally, and with long range setups, you typically don't use the amps. You only use amps for a fraction of the time.
Yeah. So it's been nice that way. I mean, long range batteries love long range because you're only pulling 8 to 12 amps.
Exactly. Right. Well, do we have any more questions from the audience? Usually I try to keep these kind of short. I don't want to go too long, and I go until my beer is empty, and my beer is empty now.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been about 45 minutes now, so thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you here and talking to you. I'm looking forward to your craziness in the future, and I have to say, some of the crap you do, I don't know how you do it.
Well, a little bit of insanity always helps.
Yeah, people keep telling me you got big balls. I say no, I just have too much money and not enough sense.
Yeah, and good friends that'll push you on to do dumb stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, thank you for your time. And happy flying.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Yep. And to all of you guys out there, thank you for joining us. Tune in next week. I'm going to try to get somebody else on. Maybe Mike Virgin. Hopefully he'll come on. Thank you, Banny. Thank you for stopping by. And see you guys later.